An AI system has just compressed around 6 months of academic research into a single day, not as a metaphor and not as a speculative claim. This is based on measured comparisons with human research workflows. The system read more than 1,500 scientific papers, executed tens of thousands of lines of analysis code, and produced multiple validated scientific findings, including several that were previously unknown. While public attention remains focused on conversational AI and creative tools, a quieter but far more significant development has taken place in scientific research automation. At the end of 2025, a nonprofit organization called FutureHouse released a platform named Edison Scientific, powered by a system called Cosmos. Cosmos is not a chatbot and not a language model used for conversation. It is designed as a scientific reasoning system. To understand why this matters, it helps to look at a structural problem in modern research. Scientific output is increasing, but scientific productivity per researcher is declining. The number of published papers has grown beyond what any individual or even large teams can realistically process. On average, a researcher needs approximately 15 minutes to carefully read and understand a single paper. Thousands are published every week in most scientific fields. Earlier AI systems attempted to assist with literature review and hypothesis generation. FutureHouse previously developed a system called Robin, which successfully identified a potential therapeutic pathway for age-related macular degeneration earlier in 2025. However, those systems faced a limitation common to large language models: limited long-range context and difficulty maintaining structured reasoning over extended chains of information. Cosmos introduces a different approach. At its core is what the developers describe as a structured world model. Rather than generating text responses, the system builds an internal representation of a scientific domain. It organizes information, tracks relationships between variables, identifies recurring patterns, and highlights gaps in existing knowledge. This approach is similar in concept to internal world models used in robotics, where a system maintains an internal simulation to reason beyond immediate sensory input. In Cosmos, the internal model represents scientific knowledge rather than physical space. Here is how it is used in practice. A researcher defines a research objective, often in only 1 or 2 sentences. For example, identifying molecular biomarkers associated with protein degradation in aging neural tissue. Once launched, Cosmos operates autonomously for a period ranging from 12 to 48 hours. During that time, it deploys multiple specialized agents in parallel. Some focus on literature analysis, others on data processing, hypothesis generation, or statistical validation. All activity is coordinated by the central world model, allowing the system to maintain coherence across very large information volumes. In a typical run, Cosmos processes around 1,500 research papers, executes approximately 40,000 lines of analytical code, and produces a structured scientific report with citations, figures, and reproducible methodology. For comparison, Edison Scientific asked experienced researchers how long it would take to reach similar conclusions manually. The average estimate was just over 6 months. This calculation is straightforward. Reading 1,500 papers alone would require more than 370 hours. That does not include data analysis, hypothesis formulation, or validation work. An important observation is that Cosmos scales with runtime. Longer runs produce proportionally deeper analysis, suggesting a linear relationship between computation time and equivalent human research effort. The system is not without limitations. When pushed too far, it can explore statistically valid but scientifically irrelevant correlations. This behavior is already familiar in human-driven exploratory research and requires careful interpretation. Despite these constraints, Cosmos has already produced several notable results. It independently reproduced 3 previously known scientific findings, validating its internal reasoning process. It also generated 4 novel results. These include identifying a previously undocumented metabolic pathway disruption in hypothermic mouse brains, reproducing known relationships between absolute humidity and solar cell efficiency, and rediscovering established mathematical rules of neural connectivity across species. Among its novel contributions, Cosmos proposed a new molecular mechanism linking elevated SOD2 enzyme levels to reduced cardiac fibrosis, identified a genetic pathway potentially lowering type 2 diabetes risk, and reconstructed molecular event sequences involved in Alzheimer's disease progression. In one case, its findings were validated using independent human datasets. These results attracted attention across the research community, including public recognition from Sam Altman, who described AI-driven scientific discovery as one of the most impactful applications of artificial intelligence. At the same time, the developers are clear about current limitations. Independent reviewers rated approximately 79% of Cosmos's scientific claims as accurate. The system requires careful prompt design and is not optimized for casual interaction. Each research run currently costs around $200. Students and academic institutions have limited access credits, but the platform is designed for serious research use rather than experimentation. The interface and workflow are still evolving, reflecting the early stage of the system. What makes Cosmos particularly interesting is not only its current performance, but its potential implications. If systems like this can accelerate biology, chemistry, and materials science, they can also accelerate research in artificial intelligence itself, including model design, training strategies, and safety research. Several parallel developments point in the same direction. Recent work at MIT, Northeastern University, IBM, and Moderna has shown similar acceleration in protein design, virtual clinical testing, and drug discovery. The average cost of developing a new drug remains above $2 billion, with a high failure rate. AI-driven research is already reducing these costs significantly and shortening development timelines. Cosmos represents another step in this broader shift. Rather than replacing researchers, it acts as a force multiplier, compressing time, expanding scope, and allowing human scientists to focus on interpretation and decision-making. The central question is not whether this technology will spread, but how quickly it will become standard across industries. Understanding how these systems work and how to integrate them into real workflows is becoming an increasingly valuable skill. Scientific research is entering a phase where progress is no longer limited primarily by human reading speed or manual analysis. The structure of discovery itself is changing. This transmission ends here. The next one is already forming. Stay aware and subscribe to Remain in the Signal.